Hello, good morning, everybody, and welcome to Sunrise Daily today. I'm Chamberlain Oso.
A part of me is about to start singing, holiday is over. But it is what it is. It's a Monday morning. Time to get back to work. Good morning and welcome. I'm Maokwe Ogunyusuf.
Don't also forget, Maokwe, that there are like 2 or 3 others coming up in the month ahead. Maya Makine, good morning and welcome.
Okay, well, yes, indeed. Yes, while people are going to be back to work, I think they're just trickling in, so it might not be as heavy traffic as it might have been in some other quarters. But all the same, it's 29 degrees centigrade, humidity 63%, I might add. So there you go. That's going to be one of the, at least, hustle and bustle will take place in the capital city here this morning. So that's what do you call that? Preview of what to expect when the day picks up. But all the same, it's a lovely weather, I might add.
Well, don't let the skyline shown from one of the poshest areas of Abuja fool you. That's the Maitama Junction right there you're seeing in Abuja. I remember when the former Minister of Power, Works and Housing was being quizzed at the Senate, and they asked him, where do you know? He said, well, I don't know a lot of places in Abuja, but at least I know Maitama. Anybody who is at that level will certainly know Maitama, and parts of it is beginning to wear a new look. So that's what we're serving you this morning. But I can tell you that if you're coming from the suburbs, a lot of the junctions are choked up this morning. People are certainly back to work in their numbers. And I wonder what it look like when the children eventually resume from their holidays. But this is it. Beautiful skyline is beginning to green back again thanks to some raindrops. How long that's going to last for, it's unclear, but I'm certainly happy that the rainy season is here. Good morning once more and welcome. Ayo, what's happening in Lagos?
Well, Lagos is ever bubbling, but one thing I can assure is this site is one for Sunrise. J.K. Randall Center, Onikon, Lagos, one more time coming to you. But don't forget that it has since become an iconic place when you need certain information about the city of Lagos, particularly about the Yoruba culture. But all of that is right there on your screen at this morning. Once again, I say good morning. This is Lagos. The temperature is still within human consumption, and you can be sure it's going to be a very beautiful day. And Maokwe, don't forget, 2 holidays at least coming in the week ahead, in the month ahead, and one of them is for children. Okay, so there is May 1, there is May 27, no May 29 holiday, but it's still as iconic as it comes.
All right, so some of the events that will go on today are Artificial Intelligence Summit. So Nigeria not wanting to be left behind. So the Ministry of Communications and Digital Economy will be having that meeting. It's called the National Artificial Intelligence Strategy Session. So they will be discussing, look, it's here to stay. So we need to do as much as we can. Probably that might help us to leapfrog certain other developmental challenges that we do have, so we can tap all of the lovely brains that the country has had or still have, so that we could take our pride of place, at least in that regard.
It'll certainly be something to look forward to. We also know that right here in the Federal Capital Territory, the minister is meeting with security agencies. So it'll be interesting if they eventually will disclose what the outcome of their meeting is. But we know that these meetings usually happen behind closed doors.
Yeah.
And knowing the fact that, you know, security before now had been some concern, especially in some of the area development councils, it'll be interesting to see what updates they'll need to provide in that particular area. Aya, what's happening on business?
Business Morning on Sunrise Daily today is going to be talking about Israel-Iran conflict and how Nigeria can hedge against energy disruptions. I guess we're taking a long look at it just in case of anything. The effect of the Russia-Ukraine war, no doubt, had its own impact and had its telltale effect on us. Will this also affect us, particularly in the area of energy? That's what Business Morning on Sunrise Daily will be about. And let's go and take a look at some of the papers this morning.
We begin with Nigerian Tribune this morning, and their focus is on the invasion of Oyo Secretariat over the weekend. Tight security in Osun, Ekiti, Kwara, Ondo, Ogun. Governors, police urge residents to remain calm, say no cause for alarm. So these are the lead story and some of the riders associated with that particular story on the front page of Nigerian Tribune today. And, well, some reactions in some quarters about what was that all about. So that is the focus of Nigerian Tribune here today. But from then on, take a look at Vanguard newspaper. Tariff hike is a theme here. CCN discos bicker over failing 20 hours supply. Band A consumers protest undersupply, seek downgrade. Total supply remains insufficient. Consumer network. Government must sensitize consumers. Others ascribe to Power Up Nigeria. Discos to set up response team. Reverse hike to avert further misery suffering electricity workers. Vow to shut power supply nationwide if colleagues are attacked. Oh dear, I guess that's all we'll have to grapple with. That is the front page of Vanguard here today. And have a look at the Guardian newspaper. Sticky prices, poor control, upset consumers despite stronger Naira. So that question subsists. They wonder, so how come it's not affecting commodities out there in spite of the gains that we seem to be recording? So I guess you might have to turn to the authorities, who themselves are expected to speak up on this matter in turn. Then we move on to Business Day. Nigeria's big banks take lead in hunt for new capital. And then Leadership newspaper here, 2024 budget exposes misuse, in parenthesis, of funds by MDAs. So again, some attention. They need to speak up on that particular matter as well here today. New Telegraph, Humanitarian Ministry probe. We've not cleared anybody, ascribed to the EFCC. So whatever you might have heard, this is the perspective of New Telegraph here today. And then at the bottom strip, Yoruba Republic, Oyo Assembly Invasion Act of Insanity, ascribed to Akeredolu. So from then on to Nigerian News Direct, a similar theme, alleged misappropriation. EFCC recovers 32.7 billion naira, $445,000 from Humanitarian Ministry amid corruption probe. So that's also gained some traction over the weekend, some back and forth as to the appropriateness of the reportage. So dailies are reflecting that again. Well, this Nigeria, on the same subject matter, Humanitarian Ministry scandal. We've recovered 32.7 billion naira, $445,000, says EFCC. Discreet investigations on Edu Umar Farouk Shehu opened other fraudulent dealings involving COVID-19 funds, World Bank loan, Abacha recovered loot released to the ministry. So it goes on. So you might want to also get more perspectives if you're interested in reading that. Well, Daily Trust, we uncovered more fraud in Humanitarian Ministry ascribed to the EFCC. So lots of narratives on that one too here this morning. Daily Independence focusing on the economy. Oil production shortfall may threaten Naira recovery. Experts. No, that's the last anybody wanted to hear. They wanted more gains to keep going on. And then PDP reps set to clash as they hold pre-NEC meeting tomorrow. That's at the bottom strip of Daily Independence here this morning if you want to check that out. And then Abuja inquirer on ease as FCDA demolishes another estate in Abuja. So, yeah. Well, Blueprint is looking at internationally. Israel versus Iran. Nigeria world leaders warn allies against military reprisal. And you know how some of these things can escalate. So that is the version of Blueprint's newspaper this morning.
Well, quite Yeah,
Go ahead.
quite a lot to maul with the papers that have just recently been put on your screen. I remember our young lady telling us that's one of the reasons why you have to keep it locked on here, because the selling will bring you the paper. She said you can read the papers for free. Well, maybe not quite. At least you can read the headlines for free. But one of the headlines that really caught my attention this morning, Vanguard newspapers, tariff hike. TCN discos bicker over failing 20-hour supply. That lead story certainly is very catchy. I was on my way to work this morning and someone was telling me that, look, before they came up with this band A, band B, before it became so popular, we used to have lights. What is going on? Because right now, I think my power supply has been downgraded to either band E or something.
So did you get any communication?
With who? Or from who?
I thought they said they improved the communication with the residents and the customers.
Well, this is what we're seeing. Some communication appears to be improving, but I don't think that the channels are still very clear. AEDC, at least here, seems to have tried to upgrade their website and be a little more responsive, but it does take forever for them to pick up their phones. And then the numbers that they provide on their website says it's only for band A customers. I call anyway, so I'll advise you to do the same too. We're all entitled to electricity. If you're a Nigerian citizen, if your disco has put some numbers there and it says only for band A, even if you're band F, call them. Call them. If you're not getting what you're supposed to get, call them.
You know, but what is the rationale for increasing this tariff with the so-called appropriate pricing or whatever it is, and they don't get supply? They don't improve their capacity for the supply. So it just comes across as though all they're focusing on is tariff. Just get the tariff, get the tariff, get the tariff. Cost of regular tariff, whatever it is. What about the service?
Indeed. What about, I think that's where the problem is. So that's where this front page of Vanguard might be of great interest to everyone.
So are customers supposed to accept it? That they're bickering? How is that the customer's business?
The problem now is this. Transmission Company of Nigeria, you know, and discos. Discos do not give themselves electricity. It's whatever it is they're given that they eventually distribute.
So once you pay this band A tariff, would you take that excuse? You want your supply. Whatever you do, settle your issues.
You should demand it. But this is what we have. So I want to believe that, you know, all stakeholders, all concerned, they should be paying attention to this particular headline. And not just this headline, also this one on the front page of The Guardian. I mean, take a look at it. Sticky prices, poor control, upset consumers despite stronger Naira. Everybody wants the Naira to improve because they want whatever it is they're earning to be able to do so much more. But when you have a situation where your Naira is improving against the dollar, but you're yet to see the effect in the market or in the supermarket, as the case might be, then it begins to raise questions as to what exactly is happening here. Are we really trying to keep it in such a way that when things go up in this country, they truly never come down? So that cannot be the situation.
That points to the reason why the government, they have to expedite action in ensuring that things are controlled. Because if you leave it to the vagaries of people, they will give any excuse whatsoever to profiteer. That's what it is right now, because at those times they always tell you, oh no, dollar this, dollar that. So how about now that the dollar is gaining? So is it reflecting? That points to you that people just want to profit. They want to gain. They don't really. Not everybody wants the dollar to be strong, mind you. So it's up to the authorities. The Naira. It's up to the authorities to make sure that, look, you can't keep taking advantage of people in the guise of so-called hike in the dollar. Things that they even cannot connect the dots. They're just looking for reasons to just ensure that people are strangulated. It doesn't make sense. So we need to look
for it to be on the front pages, Chamberlain, it does tell you a lot. It tells you a lot. Ayo.
Well, thank you, Makwe. You know, every time, Chamberlain, we talk about government, I like to decrypt. I like to drill it down. It's just some fellow somewhere refusing to do whatever he or she is supposed to do. Or some group of people who are supposed to move one thing or the other from one place to the other that are not doing what they're supposed to do. I connect two things right this morning on the front page of the Daily Trust newspaper. It's talking about uncovering fraud in the humanitarian ministry. and that's according to the EFCC. Connect that to the Chibok girls situation, the scenario that happened back then. Yes, maybe we didn't have a Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs at that time. That came up perhaps, later on. However, we had a ministry of the federal government responsible for the welfare of Nigerians, as the Constitution has mandated. And look at what you have right there at the bottom of that page. 21 Chibok girls returned with 34 kids. 48 parents die of trauma. Who was supposed to do what needed to be done? That those things didn't get done, and those children, what happened to them did happen to them. And we had this conversation last week. It is very, very interesting that it's so easy for us to say it's government. Government is more than 1,500 ministries, departments, and agencies filled with people who are supposed to do what they are supposed to do. So yes, on that, Chamberlain, I will agree with you that there needs to be certain mechanisms to ensure that people do what they're supposed to do. But who will put those mechanisms in place? Is it that we don't have such things that are supposed to get those things done? There is what they call Servicom. What happened to Servicom? Is Servicom effective? Now, these people were supposed to get money at the various parts of Nigeria to alleviate poverty and all those things. How come children were abducted in Chibok, and 1,600 of them over the past 10 years? And yet we have a Federal Ministry of Humanitarian Affairs. Well, whatever it is that the EFCC is doing is one. Come up with investigation and all of that. How do we know that those things are not going on right now? Have we dealt with the systems that allowed those things to happen in the first place? So again, Chamberlain, I agree with you that there needs to be that control, but those controls have to be holistic. And the earlier we get to work, the better. It's a Monday morning. That's my take, guys.
All right, there you go. That wraps it up with a look at some of the dailies here this morning. We'll be back in just a moment, so stay on with us.
Senior executives face local macroeconomic turbulence and global geopolitical upheavals. Don't worry, Texan UK got your back. A transformative journey with Texan Strategies for Sustainable Organizational Success Program, April 24 to 25, 2024, in Lagos will position you and your organization for these challenges. Our interactive sessions, games, assessments, and peer-to-peer learning are unique with a great faculty led by John Peters, former chair, Association of MBAs and ex-prisoner of war, delivering actionable insights for you to navigate uncertainties and thrive. Pay 3,155,250 Naira by March 15th for your spot and enrich your leadership skills in resilience, innovation, and sustainable growth. Apply now via +44 7425 883 791 or exec@texam.co.uk. It's a strategic opportunity to win. Texam, insights that inspire, actions that change the world.
The Chief of Army Staff, Lieutenant General Tariq Lagbaja Nigerian Army Medal, on behalf of officers and soldiers of the Nigerian Army, announces the commencement of the Chief of Army Staff First Quarter Conference 2024, scheduled to hold as follows. Date, Monday 15th to Friday 19th April 2024. Venue, Army Headquarters, Command Officers Mess 1, Asokoro, Federal Capital Territory, Abuja. Time, 8 a.m. daily. Nigerian Army, pride of the nation. Announcer, Major General Onyema Uwachiku, Director, Army Public Relations.
With Glovo, you order anything you want, and when you receive it, you celebrate with your whole body. Because when that tasty grilled chicken is here, the weekend starts. The ingredients for your favorite recipe, just in time. And when the cake arrives, the party is on. Because receiving anything on Glovo deserves a dance. Download the app, order anything you want, and track it minute by minute until it arrives. Glovo, order anything, we deliver in minutes.
The journey to success is not always smooth. There are rough patches on the path to accomplishment. The struggle continues until solution appears. That launches you to the world of your dreams, protecting, securing, and ensuring that you reach your goals. At International Energy Insurance, we know that the journey to actualizing your dreams could be tough, but we are always there to support you and help you prepare for the unexpected. International Energy Insurance is a Nuremberger company now positioned to serve you better. International Energy Insurance PLC. Energy to care.
There are 1,001 ways to start your day.
Whether you're in Lagos, Nigeria,
in London or anywhere in the world,
or online.
We all want a perfect start to our day, don't we?
7 a.m. Every weekday, we bring you a better way to start your day.
April 14, 2014 remains indelible in the memories of many Nigerians, being the day over 200 schoolgirls were kidnapped from the government girls' secondary school in Chibok, Borno State. These critical stakeholders have converged on the Unity Fountain in Abuja in high spirits, ferociously demanding the safe release of girls believed to still be in captivity. The BBOG abbreviation, which means Bring Back Our Girls, is a movement widely recognized by many across the country, which was birthed after the unfortunate incident.
We, the Kibaku, are deeply disappointed with the pervasive failure by successive governments of Borno State since 2014 in their inability or refusal or failure to rescue all our daughters for a decade now. Within this time, 48 parents have lost their lives, mostly due to heart conditions and other health-related reasons.
In a similar vein, other stakeholders make their demands while appealing for the intervention of the government.
When I hear Nigerians talk anyhow about Chibok girls, all I do is pray for them. I pray for those Nigerians. There are many ways to put a curse on yourself. Many ways to put a curse on yourself. But the worst way to put a curse on yourself is to not be bothered about what has happened to your fellow human being. To be callous toward your fellow human being. You already cursed yourself. Nobody needs to curse you. And here we are today. The key message: disclosure, accountability, closure.
The event took a sad turn when one of the mothers broke down in tears. When she was able to pull herself together, she had this to say. It has not been easy waiting for my daughter's return. All I want is to see my daughter, dead or alive.
It's a decade now since the Chibok girls were adopted by the Boko Haram terrorist group. The relentless determination of the Bring Back Our Girls movement and other critical stakeholders is the driving force for the demand of the release of the 82 girls still believed to be in captivity. Hopefully, the present government of Nigeria takes drastic decisions to ensure that these girls are reunited with their loved ones in no time. From the Unity Fountain in Abuja, Kumbi Aboluwade, Channels Television News.
All right, welcome back. Well, yes, that is what we're going to start off with here today on Sunrise Daily. We've got Elder Ayuba John Bassa here with us. He is the National Coordinator, Goza Christian Community Association. Good morning. Thank you for joining us today.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Nigeria.
Yeah, we will also be joined by Amina Ali Nkeki. She was also kidnapped at the time, but she escaped from captivity. So we'll also bring her in as we progress here. So let me start with you here in the studios. Goza happens to be one of the communities affected by this kidnap incident at the time. So there were many who didn't understand, I reckon even till now, in terms of the rationale, why was it difficult for that to stop? Those who, we understand some residents were also converted into some of those who were kidnapping. They wonder, where were the elders? What were the parents doing? So all of that lingered at the time. So given the benefits of hindsight while you were in that community, 10 years on, what goes through your mind about all of this?
A lot of things goes into one's mind when you remember what Boko Haram really did in this country. If I think of my area, Goza, at the beginning, it was just like a joke 11 years ago. And when it started using our own people. In fact, I have more than 65 members of my family who joined the Boko Haram.
65?
Yes.
What was the attraction?
My blood relations, both from paternal and maternal family. The attraction was illiteracy, and then the influence of the Boko Haram who came to abattoir, because most of them are butchers in Maiduguri, abattoir. So it's from there they've been brainwashed and then went and sold all their properties in Maiduguri, taking the funds to the headquarters of Boko Haram for court and in court, working for God. You know, some of them push back their families, go back to the village, go back to the mountain. We saw the families coming back. What is wrong? Daddy sold the house and gave the money for work of God. And we were told to come back home and leave. So, you know, so many, you know, dramatic information, as if it's a drama also. Can one believe it or can one not believe it? Until it comes to us within the Goza town itself. Not really the village, the villages. And very close to me and in front of my house, 4 of my friends were killed. And we know the people who shot them. They are also from our family. So, and then suddenly the incidents of abattoir in Goza, where 30 men were slaughtered like animals. 4 out of them were my uncles. Very close uncles, so loving. And they were slaughtered because they don't have the same ideology with that of Boko Haram. And they claim to bring a new religion. So out of a religion, you know, and they tend to see any other person that does not believe in their own ideology is not a good believer, quote unquote. If you are a nominal Muslim, no, you are not fit to be. If you are a Christian, you are not fit to be. They have their own different belief, different religion, but carved out of another religion. So that happens. I have sisters that were kidnapped, especially in my maternal village at the mountainside at that time. No one could go to the mountain and protect anybody.
But so, if it was just about working for God, some say you may not have as many people because they think the economy was part of it. They might have been making money, and so they decided it was difficult to leave and come back to the community. What would they fall back on?
Yeah, making money does not belong to those who are being used to work for Boko Haram. Their brain has been brainwashed to believe in God, while their leaders do not believe what these soldiers or fighters believe. There's a kind of, you teach using lies to entice others, to use them for your advantage. None of those prominent leaders sold their houses. None of them. send their children to join the troop of fighters or Boko Haram called. None of them. In fact, one of my uncle happens to be one of their Amir, who uses my house as his headquarters in Goza, in charge of women that have been adopted.
Adopted or kidnapped?
Kidnapped and adopted or whatsoever, they will bring it to his house. He's in charge. He will be the one to appoint the women to sections of Boko Haram's in the creeks. You, 5 of you, go and serve as cooks to a certain Boko Haram camp in a certain place. You go there. I order you to marry this one. I order you. He is in charge of women.
Well, speaking about which, we have Amina Ali Nkeki, as I did introduce her earlier. She was one of those who was kidnapped, and I think she was the very first that escaped captivity as well. She joins us virtually. Good morning, Amina. Good to see you, and thank you for joining us on the program. So you clearly have gone through a lot. So if you don't mind, could you then tell us, what can you tell us about what transpired and how you got away?
As you said, good morning to you all. My name is Amina Nkeki. So among the girls who were adopted in 2014, then I'm the first one who escaped in 2016.
Indeed, Amina, we're so happy to have you with us on Sunrise Daily. Thank you so much for joining us. And yes, your story was indeed a remarkable one, because 2 years after the initial abductions took place, people had assumed, or some were already beginning to give up hope of, you people ever returning. And yet, when we saw you on national television, we knew that there was hope that, the rest of the girls could be returned. You, alongside your baby, who was 4 months old at that time, were rescued, and a man whom, said he was your husband. I don't know how that has panned out now, but we know that in 2017 you got into university. Is that correct? So tell us, 10 years after the abduction took place, how much progress would you say you've made? That incident, does it still scar you in many ways? Please talk to us.
Okay. Please can you say the question again? Because I didn't get to.
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Great. I was asking, I said, 10 years after that incident occurred, how do you feel? Do you still think about it?
Sorry?
Okay.
Do you still think about that incident 10 years after?
Well, not yet, because for now, I'm alive, so nothing else that I can talk about. I'm okay for now. I'm just praying that some of my sister will be back.
How are you doing? What are you currently doing? Are you in school? Are you done with school? Are you back home? Can you tell us a bit more?
No, I'm still schooling in Yola, so I'm studying mass communication.
Oh, that's interesting. That's certainly very good to know. So how many more years do you have before you're done?
Now I'm in my second year, so I still have some years to go with that.
I'm happy to hear that. What about your baby? What happened to your baby?
Yeah, she's fine, and she's living here in Yola with me.
Okay. So I don't know, when you think about the rest of your sisters, as you call them, do you sometimes believe that they can still be returned 10 years after?
Yeah, that's it. And I still have that hope that they will release one dream.
I'm happy to hear that. Have you been through some counseling since the incident happened?
Sorry, can you say that again?
I was asking if you've been through counseling.
Maybe we'll just see if we can try that connection again and see if you could hear. I think there might be some distortion with that one. But Elder here, I mean, you might have related with several persons who also kidnapped her and got back. It's usually difficult to deal with, but she pretty strong, at least going through all of that. She's happy to be alive. I mean, who wouldn't be? But in terms of how we've approached all of this, do you think that the government actually has an understanding of what really is going on and how to approach it?
Chamberlain, they have ample information to act on, but lack of priority. They refuse to prioritize this issue. If they had done that, these people are not living in the moon. They know exactly where they are. They do communicate every day. Or how comes the issue of swapping with the between Boko Haram and the other adopted girls? Because they can communicate. They know where they are. And each government is just using them as a kind of pressing card. Let me produce 5 to make my name better. I can produce 10 during campaign to make my name better.
Do they actually think like that?
Chamberlain, nothing happens. How much is Borno State? And they are within Borno State. How much is the whole of Borno State? For 10 years, you couldn't know where these girls are. And you cannot find out where they are. Then where are those ones coming from? Are they coming from Cameroon or Chad? They are within each one of them who happens to regain freedom. They will tell you, we are in so-so-so village. We've been in so-so-so place. Within the same state. Within the same state. The 100 and something that regained freedom. Did you not ask them where and which villages? Where do you think the other ones are? What of the 1,000 and something Boko Haram that are being rehabilitated? Don't they know? If you prioritize it. So we have given you grace and we are accepting you just as you are instead of.
You also did say your family members were involved in this.
Yes.
Was there communication between themselves and members of your family and yourself while they were there or at any point whatsoever?
Of course. Especially. Most of their families in Goza town, especially those that are related to me, more than 5 times have been sending ram.
Wait, who sends ram? You send them or they send you?
Yes. The family will cry that we have a baby in the camp. But naming ceremony is fixed for 7 days because they are Muslims. I will send money for ram.
To them?
The dad will call me. Thank you for doing that. But you are still a target as far as I'm concerned.
That's a very strange situation. But let me just quickly put this, because I remember when you were having that, when you started speaking, you were saying that, you know, when you think about what was Goza, I mean, when, you know, what used to happen there, it does appear that attacks now have subsided, have they? What's the current situation in Goza? Can you tell us?
The current situation in Goza now is that you cannot move out of Goza 2 kilometers away from Goza, from town. No, you can't. It's still dangerous.
From Goza town?
From Goza town. 2 kilometers is quite dangerous because many farmers are being, you know, attacked.
2 kilometers
but Goza has been reclaimed?
Goza town has been reclaimed. Yes.
So are there people living in Goza now?
Of course. And those who were living at the hamlets, villages before, most of them come in because what happened is that when Boko Haram came and dispersed most people within Goza and they fled to Cameroon and other towns, those ones at the villages again came and occupied their houses. You go to my house, I will find like maybe 5 or 6 families whom I don't know, came from another village. You can't tell them, leave my house. So those ones in Kamaru Kam and the rest who own the houses and Adamawa, they cannot come back and live in their houses now because their houses have been occupied. Who is going to clear those bush for those ones to go back so that the owner of the houses to come? Nothing is being done.
Wow. Well, I mean, we don't know if you can hear better now. It's usually a difficult scenario, not even wanting to, you know, just rehash any feelings that you might have had previously. But in terms of your schooling now, how is school and your fees and everything going on? Are you doing okay? Is everything fine now?
Sure. Yeah, for now, we thank God everything is going fine. But at the first time, we just out of change, but for now, we thank God everything is going well.
You know, at the time you escaped, there were people were still trying to understand what actually happened. So what is it that you can tell us about how you escaped?
I escaped when soldiers went to the forest to fight the Boko Haram. So that's how we escaped. And then too, they are running to the bush to hide. So, and we too started running like we are going to hide. And after that, we get our own way, and that's how we escaped. But because of how the bush big it is, and we don't know where, before we come out, it takes us 1 month plus.
1 month plus?
Yeah.
Wow. Oh dear. All right, let's Ayo equally has questions for both of you. Ayo, go ahead, please.
Thank you, Chamberlain. Let me begin with the young lady. Amina, my colleague Malpa was trying to ask you questions about, you know, some of your colleagues the other time. Which one of them do you remember right now who are still in custody, and what can you remember about them?
I always remember them that because there is time we were in captivity, some of them used to encourage me when they see me I'm crying. So some of them used to encourage me, and if I don't see some of them picture of me, so I will always remember them.
So which one of them can you remember right now? And what do you think they are going through right now?
More especially my friend Amy Ibrahim, and she's still in that captivity. We have never been separated in that captivity. We are always together. If I come home during holiday and I see her parents, it always makes me sad.
And we understand that there are 92 others. How does that make you feel that they are not back home with their parents? How do you feel about that?
I feel so sad because that place is not a good place that you wish that you are friends or somebody. Even you are not related with that person, but you are seeing that situation in that place. Not good for them to live there. So I'm praying that one day them can live and have their freedom. Like we have our freedom now, and even to share the happiness, we are always there with our parents. Them too, I wish for them.
I mean, I really do feel your pain, and I'm sure many people watching you right now feel the same. But what do you think is being done to them now? How do you think they could be feeling? What do you think will be going through their minds right now, particularly because of, you know, I mean, it's been 10 years. What do you think they're going through now? What do you think could have happened to them?
I may think they're going through sickness, through hunger, and some things, because even now some of them have been a mother of 3 children, 4 children, and it's not easy for them with that. forest, because if you don't have food for only one person, it's difficult, and you are still taking care of children, and it's not easy to you to go out and find a food for them. So even this thing is difficult for them.
We also hear, Amina, that some of them were forced to marry the people who captured them. Is it true?
For me, they didn't force us to get married, but the way they come and play their roles, that if we didn't agree to marry them, we are going to be their slaves. So from that phase, there are some of us, and because of the starting picking someone again among us and go with them. So it's because of that fear, let some people that, so if I'm going to be a slave, let me get married. So that's how some people decide to get married. And some people say that they will take all the risks. And some of us get mad that maybe it will be a way for them to escape, more especially to a person like me. For me, it's not because of they are forced us to get married. Because I see they're starting their role to take us to this level. So I think that it's good for me to get married to one person so that maybe I will get the freedom to go anywhere I want, so that from that I will get a way to escape. It will be a way for me. So that's why it's married.
So none of you don't think any of them was forced to marry anybody?
No, it's just because of the role they play, and they start taking some of the girls and then to control their duty as a slave. So that's how some people change their mind.
It's been 10 years, Amina. Do you think it is difficult for governments to rescue them? Do you think, how do you feel about that your friends are, do you think it is difficult for government to rescue them? Do you think it is, how difficult is it, from what you can tell us, to rescue your friends?
For me, I think that it's not difficult for government to rescue these girls, because he has a many ways to follow to rescue the girls as a leader, and we also know what is happening in his country, then it can be difficult to do.
Well, thank you so much, Amina, for that. Well, Elder Ayuba John, let me come to you now. You have also said the same thing that she said, that, I mean, it can't be that difficult. But I would like to ask you about the community leaders in the environment now, the Gwoza community, the Chibok community. How are they taking all of these things? Because they are the closest to that community. And whatever they do right now is sending a message one way or the other to the much younger people that are, right there in those communities. What are the community leaders doing? Do you think they have anything that they can do?
A typical community along our axis, to my understanding, growing up, a community leader has no right apart from what the higher authority gave him. In fact, what he will tell the community or say, or a suggestion, will have to come from above. So he's afraid of being overthrown. You can't say anything that is, no matter how it itches you, and against the higher authority, you always look forward up. Oga, what do you want me to say? And they will say, no, I'm protecting my food. That is it. Otherwise,
Elder
if
John,
they understand human rights.
Just 1 second.
And they understand.
When you say
yes,
from above, who is this person that they go to above? Is it the state government? Is it the local government chairman?
Yeah, at the local stage, they look forward to the chairman and all of that. If you are a village head, you have an emir above you, you third class, maybe you now go to first class emir, and then the first class emir is looking up to the governor in trying to please those that are on authority. I never had any village head say anything contrary to what the government wants to hear. They always praise them. Call them anytime and interview them. It is praises. They will be telling them. They won't tell the yearning of the community to audience. No.
Okay.
Because they are afraid. They'll say, I'm protecting my food.
Elder John,
typical Nigerian for you.
It's really sad to hear this. But there's something that you said earlier, and I'm just wondering, first of all, to this issue that you raised now, are the police unaware that these things are happening, that, you know, it's not so difficult, as you have said and as Amina has corroborated, to rescue these girls? Are the police aware of the issues happening in the environment? Is there anything they can do?
We have police. We have police division within Goza. From police division to where those girls were kept in Goza then is a section of Goza called Goza Wakani. Maybe a few days after their adoption. Police division was very close, about 2 kilometers. A strong throw, if I may call it. What were they doing? They are there for Goza, but what did they do? Nothing.
But
nothing.
It's really, really sad and heart-wrenching. There's something that you also mentioned the other time about the way the average person lives in that community. It's next to, the only word that explains it to me is poverty. And that is the life that you said that people are living on a daily basis. Is the state government aware of the lifestyle of the people, the below par human lifestyles that these people are living? Are they aware? Is there something they could have done to ensure that people are lifted above the level of life that they're living now, which could make them vulnerable, as you said, to joining these terrorist, you know, gangs?
Yes, but if there is no education, how do you get a capital and then begin to build up businesses on it? And how can a bank trust one that is an illiterate, doesn't know what bank is? How can, the authority even trust you? Where is the collateral? You don't even know what is collateral. You don't have certificate. You cannot, be able to sit down and produce a good feasibility studies for your business. What they will do is just, yes, we can give you 20,000, go and establish during campaign. So can you take 50,000? There was a time at the abattoir in Maiduguri, most of our village guys who couldn't do not join the Boko Haram, but they have been sympathizers all this while. We're given 250,000 naira each by the then former governor, now our humble vice president. But where was that money? I don't know where the money is. None of them become millionaire. None of them become thousandaire. They're back to square one. They are still getting meat from their boss to go and still sell and get 1,000 per day. So how do you live somebody's economy? Someone who doesn't even know economy to improve,
How does elections go on in those places with all of this that goes on?
The election is a kind of, can I say what Nigeria would say, boji-boji. You just use your authority and then have some strong few guys who can stamp it for you and then declare.
That's what happened?
What happened at the former election? Not to expose my leader, but I respect him. He's my younger in age. Our first class emir confessed to me, actually, this is the party that won, but to protect my food, we have to declare so party. So what do? Nothing. That fear is still there. Those who are outside Goza now, who came to Abuja and other areas now, are beginning to know, so I have right as a citizen. While living there, you don't believe there's any right on earth. It is what they want to do that you are to dance to.
Do you think things will change, either with the elections or with the kidnapping situation?
Is going to be very, 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 very difficult. Very, very difficult. I don't know whether when people that are outside now go back to Goza, will now begin to educate those ones that are there. We have right. We are Nigerians. Out there, we are the same. It is here that they kept dividing us religiously and then social group and the rest. But out there, if you go out there, everybody lives the same. So we have to fight for our rights. Otherwise, if you continue this way, no wonder they don't want to clear those other areas where those people that are outside could come back and occupy their places. I don't know.
All right, we'll have to thank you for coming on. Elder Ayuba Basa is the National Coordinator, Goza Christian Community Association. We also have to thank you, Amina Alinkeki, for at least joining us this morning. We wish you all the best as you continue your schooling in AU and Yola. Thank you and all the best to you.
Thank you.
All right. So business, it's business news on Sunrise. It is on the hour. Ladi will be taking us through that one. So stay on with us.
With Glovo, you order anything you want, and when you receive it, you celebrate with your whole body. Because when that tasty grilled chicken is here, the weekend starts. The ingredients for your favorite recipe just in time. And when the cake arrives, the party is on. Because receiving anything on Glovo deserves a dance. Download the app, order anything you want, and track it minute by minute until it arrives. Glovo, order anything, we deliver in minutes.
The future belongs to the dreamers, to the doers, to those who are not afraid of the side hustle. It's for those who are ready to turn their passion into something big. And to help keep you revitalized and inspired, Talk Tea is with you every step of the way. You are made for more. Find your inspiration. Talk Tea, big round bags of flavor.
With Glovo, you order anything you want, and when you receive it, you celebrate with your whole body. Because when that tasty grilled chicken is here, the weekend starts. The ingredients for your favorite recipe just in time. And when the cake arrives, the party is on. Because receiving anything on Glovo deserves a dance. Download the app, order anything you want, and track it minute by minute until it arrives. Glovo, order anything, we deliver in minutes.
And it's a brand new week. Good morning, good evening, wherever the world you're watching from. It's Business Morning coming to you live from Channels HQ right here in Lagos. And definitely, it's time to get the agenda, set your investment agenda for the week. Now, let's start with oil prices. We see they're open lower today as market participants dialed back risk premiums. You see Brent futures for June down about 24 cents this morning. Most market analysts were expecting some kind of jump, today for Monday on the back of geopolitical tension right there in the Middle East. But we're seeing oil prices down. Brent is down 24 cents. WTI down about 38 cents. Some say maybe it's already priced in from Friday because markets were actually expecting tension, in the Middle East. And I'm sure that's already priced in at this point. Seeing oil prices down to start the week. But definitely it's still very early in the week. A lot to, go through to see how much volatility we're going to see in the oil market for this week. To other markets now, we see to the annual meetings. Over 15,000 persons are expected at this year's annual meeting of the World Bank and the International Monetary Fund taking place in Washington, D.C., United States. The annual meeting will bring together heads of the World Bank, the International Monetary Fund, central bank governors, ministers of finance, members of private sector, and civil society to discuss issues of global concern, including the world economic outlook, global financial stability, poverty eradication, jobs and growth, economic development, and aid effectiveness. The Minister of Finance, Mr. Wale Edu, and the Central Bank Governor, Mr. Yemi Cardoso, are expected at the meeting and will be sharing experiences on what Nigeria has been up to in addressing income inequalities, job creation, and improving its human resources, and also huge debt burden and infrastructural deficits. The meeting is also expected to offer an opportunity for civil society organizations to share their views and interact with policymakers in a global setting. To the electricity market, now we see Ikeja distribution companies announce an addition of 34 new Band A feeders to its network with a view to increasing power supply to customers following the hike in electricity tariffs for Band A consumers who enjoy at least 20 hours of electricity daily. NEC mandated discos to ensure those in the category receive 20 hours of electricity supplied daily. The regulator also stated that when discos fail to provide such, it should be published. Should publish the reason for the failure on its platforms on the next day. So a lot to go back there. But now let's start with our first conversation. Now we see, obviously, Iran launched a retaliatory strike on Saturday night in Israel for its deadly attack on Iranian officers in the Islamic Republic's embassy in Damascus after days of signaling it would do so. Markets trading in the weekend reacted. Markets like Bitcoin, that one never sleeps. It did fall to that 60,000 level. So now let's gauge the expectations for what happens, going forward. Would there be escalation? What this means for the energy market? Joining us now is Mr. Dan D. Kunle, energy and infrastructure expert. He's also a former special advisor to the Minister of Petroleum Resources. He joins us from our Abuja studio. Great to have you on the show, sir.
Ladi.
Yeah, so the first trading day. Yeah, good morning. The first trading day kicks off today, and investors have their eyes on geopolitics right now. Some are already saying oil prices could hit $150 on escalation right now. But Monday is starting off quite stable. That's talking about oil prices. What are you expecting could be Israel's response to the attack over the weekend?
Well, thank you very much. The situation now is requires a very careful observation and careful analysis, because you can see that the market did not react spontaneously compared to what happened in 1973, 72, 73 Israeli-Arab war. You can see that the market over the years after COVID have strategically balanced because of the rate at which United States of America is been mobilizing to produce so much hydrocarbon. And you can see Saudi Arabia has also strategic balance in their production output. And you can also see Russia have reasonable volume of crude in spite of the escalation between them and Ukraine. So you can see that the market today, Monday, you will see all the traders will watch pronouncement from Israel before the market, because there is reasonable volume of commodity in the market, particularly crude oil and gas. So that is why you have not seen sudden escalation. So I believe in prices, you have not seen a jump. So this is the situation for now. It's still a very careful observation.
Right. All eyes on major commodities market definitely for this week and today. But with the volatility in the global oil market, with this Middle East crisis, what does this pertain for, the Naira? We know higher crude oil prices. That's good, for revenue for Nigeria, but that also translates to, pressures of petrol subsidy, erasing gains, on Brent prices. How are you seeing it?
Yes, Laddie, this is why you need always to have business intelligence analysis. Because if this escalation now results into sudden increase in the price of crude oil to maybe $100, you will now see that Nigeria, two things will confront us. Do you have internal capacity to ramp up your production and sell more crude to the market that needs it as $100 so that you earn more dollars for your foreign reserve? And that will help you to stabilize the exchange rate at maybe 1,000 Naira to $1. But if you don't have this internal capacity now to ramp up your production and supply the market gap that this escalation may likely create, then we are back to square one. It means we did not build capacity in the past. So again, you are now going to import finished product, white product, for your domestic market because Dangote refinery is not yet producing white product, enough white product to meet the market need. So that gap you are going to import, particularly PMS, you will import it at a very high price. So you will still pay subsidy, whatever name they call it. As the situation is today, we are still paying subsidy somehow. Okay, but I think President Tinubu is managing this carefully. So that is it is all boiled down to energy security and your internal capacity to respond to exogenous issues like this, war, pestilences like COVID. These are internal issues we need to revisit and readdress quickly as a nation. We need to sit down and say, what do we have in stock? What do we have on ground? How fast can we bring it out? How much investment have we made in the last 5 years, 6 years, 7 years into our upstream exploration and exploitations? So both for oil and gas, because you can see the energy security of the world, how it is balancing out, strategic balance. You can see Europe is heavily dependent on America now because of the Atlantic Basin advantage. So whenever there is an escalation in the Middle East Basin, where used to be the main source of energy supply to the world, this is what you get. But America have strategically over the years, from 1974 crisis, 1973, 74 escalation, and the 1979 Iranian revolution, you can see that America have ramped up strategically at home to make sure they are energy secure. Nigeria must look internally. Can we be energy secure at home? And can we have extra capacity to export more to earn dollars, to diversify our economy to agriculture?
All right, talking about...
So this is the situation.
Talking about getting more crude oil out, at this time. If you look at the production in the first quarter, that's for Nigeria, we see that January had about 1.42 million barrels per day. That was the output, and we see February, it's been a downtrend, for the first quarter, 1.32 million, that's for February, according to OPEC. And March, that came in, that's the latest one, 1.23 million barrels per day. So we've seen that downtrend, in the first quarter, that's for oil production. Why are we seeing this happen, and do you see this continuing into the second quarter of 2024?
Thank you very much. I'm always very sad looking at these figures, because why is it that instead of us to be heading for 2 million up north, 2.5 million, why are we always coming down? Even though the technical justification for this last month performance is understandable, that there are some maintenance and there are some other issues that are holding down about 200,000 barrels. We come back to the market before the end of this month. Hopefully, Nigeria is a very difficult environment to predict. But it's very sad when you look at this figure. This country, our reserve is close to 38 billion barrels. Even our onshore reserve alone, we should be doing between 2.8 million and 3 million by now. So something is really wrong. And I still want to be inclined to ask Mr. President Tinubu to put up his crystal ball glasses and look critically into the structure of NNPC and ask, what is the problem? Why is it that you cannot increase production of crude oil when you have all the reserve already established, when you have most of the field that have aged, but you can invest and revive them quickly? Take, for example, some OPL, some oil mining licenses that are in the hand of MPDC and the owners. Ask, why are they not producing more than what they are doing? What is the problem? Where are the bottlenecks? So this is the issue. How can you use 1.2 million barrels a month or a day to look after 200 million people? Look, just look at the gap. So I think it's unfortunate that the cost center of this country today is the money you make upstream, you are losing it midstream, downstream. It's very sad. So now you take this one and relate this output on a daily basis now to the energy need of the country, electricity. So how are you going to cross-subsidize electricity? Because it is when you make so much money from upstream crude oil export and gas that you can subsidize electricity in one way or the other. How can you subsidize agriculture also? When you're earning with your daily production from oil, that is your golden egg, is so poor like this. So I think there is still a jigsaw requirement. I am not after any particular person or individual in NNPC structure, but I think that structure is weak and need to be resolved. Something just has to happen. Why the president has taken this long to look into that place, we don't know. But whatever it is, I am very sincere in my mind. Something's really wrong somewhere. We need to look at it. So it's very painful to see that we have a reserve, we have resources, but we cannot bring out anything reasonable.
Definitely, this plays into the strengthening of the naira. We definitely need to get more output out and enjoy some of the high prices we see in the oil markets at this time. But also got a report by Bloomberg showing that Nigeria's crude supply for May loading has been very slow to find buyers so far, with more than half of the scheduled cargoes yet cleared. What would you say is the cause of this? Why are we seeing low demand for these cargoes in the global market?
Laddie, don't worry. The market at times can have some internal issues if you are involved in the geopolitical and the geo-economic zoning of the world about commodities like oil. If there are laws at times for your commodity to get acceptance by traders, there may be reasons. What is going on in Singapore, what is going on in Switzerland, what is going on in some zones of the market may be the reason why there is no immediate trader to accept those commodities. But I can bet you, within this week, from what has happened between Iran and Israel now, you will see that those commodities, those vessels, they will get off-takers immediately. So it's not a big issue. That one is not a big issue. The real issue is how much volume can we take to the market to earn more naira and more dollars to stabilize our exchange rate. That is the problem, because you cannot stabilize the exchange rate when your earning in dollars is weak. You cannot, because our demand, our lifestyle in Nigeria today is still largely tied to dollar. It's a petrodollar economy, whether we like it or not. Everything we use, including the channel on which I am talking to you today, they are driven by dollar. Everything, even the apparatus and all the gamut of resources and material and hardware you need to produce the oil and produce food, is all dollar driven. So don't worry about the cargo that is hanging in the Atlantic Ocean or somewhere across the world. They will get off-takers. Even those ones that are yet to leave our shore, They will get off-takers within the week. It's not a big problem.
Right.
The market has enough room to take. We may only suffer a discount. We may be forced to accept what you call forced sales value. They may just tell you, oh, we cannot pay you $80. We will give you $75. You like or you don't like, you take it. But it's not an issue. That volume is nothing in the marketplace.
Okay, we'll definitely keep tracking that. But all eyes on geopolitics right now and how that's impacting global supply chain. We see the major trade routes like the Red Sea is also heavily impacted at this time, and most of the refined products coming through most of these corridors at this time. So talk to me about how we can hedge against issues when it comes to bringing in refined products at this time, and how our refineries here, like the Dangote refinery, is playing into all of this.
Yes, Ladi, I'm happy you touched on this very issue. You can see that the Middle East basin, you can see that once there is a disruption in the Arabian Sea towards the Indian Ocean and towards the Red Sea, largely it means that situation is going to give advantage to the operators in the Atlantic basins. That is the Guyanas, the Venezuelas, the Mexicos, the America of this world. So every time there is a fight like this, somebody gains. The Ukraine war and Russia, America gain. They move all the gas in this world to the market in Europe. So now that there's a little tension in the Middle East, which I believe is going to be moderated because of the strategic balance, Iran have seen now that there's a strategic balance. They cannot get massive support compared to the type of support and cooperation they got in 1972-73 during the Israeli-Arab War. Because nations have evolved. Their socioeconomic status have evolved. So a lot of countries are beginning to be more conscious of protecting their citizens and their income. So I don't believe that this escalation in the Middle East basin will last. But the temporary advantage is for the Atlantic basins to fill the gap that the escalation may create in the market. Nigeria, do we have the capacity? We are back to capacity again to take advantage because we are lucky by geographical location. We are by the Atlantic. So we can move product easily from here to Europe without crossing the Red Sea, without going anywhere there. So it is only Pakistan, India, and the Southeast Asia that may feel something because what Qatar and Iraq and Iran are supposed to move may not move. So Saudi Arabia also may suffer temporarily. That is also the reason why all these countries may not easily jump to cooperate with Iran, because their national interest, their sovereignty, and economic survival is at stake. So the whole situation, let's dimension the win-win, not the lose-lose. Because everybody will lose if the whole thing escalates too much. So at the moment, let's just leave it like that. Nigeria, as you have said, Dangote will have an advantage because he's not bringing his crude oil from the Middle East basin. He's bringing his crude oil from America, the Atlantic basin advantage. So he's pretty good where he's located. So he can ramp up production and supply the market. So while Nigeria, if we are not careful, our imported refined product, the price may escalate. But let's watch. Let's use this week to watch. Maybe by the time I'm back here next week, if you give me the privilege again, we may be talking in another way.
Right, it's definitely a watch and a wait to see moment at this time, and definitely this is playing into the inflation story globally, because we know with higher oil prices that feeds into inflation, and definitely that kicks the bucket down when it comes to rate cuts. Every investor is expecting rate cuts at some point, but we'll see how it all plays out. Thank you so much. It was great having you on the show today and your perspective. That was Mr. Dan D. Kunle, former Special Advisor to the Minister of Petroleum Resources and Energy and Infrastructure Experts. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ladi. Thank you, audience.
All right, so we'll take a quick break now. When we come back, we head straight to the markets. That's in a moment. Just stay with us.
Hi, I'm Susan. I'm the exhibition manager for MedLab West Africa. This event is set to become the premier platform for laboratory professionals across West Africa. 3,500 attendees, 150 plus exhibitors from over 30 countries, and 6 CBD accredited conferences, all happening at MedLab West Africa. Whether it's networking with industry players, learning about the latest lab trends, or finding the right buyers to take your business to the next level, MedLab West Africa is the event for event laboratory professionals in West Africa. So, mark your calendars, the 22nd to the 24th of April, Lagos, Nigeria, MedLab West Africa.
Welcome back. Well, we'll head straight to markets now. Was risk-off sentiment that resonated in the Nigerian equities market for the 2 trading sessions in the week. That was last week. We did have public holidays for most of that week, but it was risk-off sentiment with the NGX all-share index down about 1.09% for the week. And we see the equity cap sitting at 57.865 trillion. And we see the banks again. The banks were hit big again last week. We'll see volume, value, deals all in the red, compared to the previous week. As expected, it was a holiday shortened week. 1.13 billion, that was volume of equities traded, valued at 28.65 billion naira. Let's look at the sectoral performance now. It was all red there. Banking, that was hit by 7.22% down. Consumer goods down about 1.33%. Even the oil and gas counter, which is normally on change, oil and gas was down about 0.28%. We see insurance, that also follows the banking counter. Financial services down about 2.45%. Let's look at the top trades now for last week. We see Morrison Industries, that was up about 20.75%. That was the top gainers for the week. 20.75%. Wando PLC, 10.57% gain for the week, even though it was a holiday shortened. Well, let's look at the top losers now. For the week, we see Access Holdings PLC, that was down big, 14.60%. So today, we're expecting inflation data for March. Analysts are forecasting a marginal rise. Joining us now is Bankole Odusonya, Chief Dealer, Polaris Bank. Great to have you in the show. Great to have you.
Good morning, Ladi.
Good morning. Yeah, so we're expecting inflation data for March today. Some are saying it might not come in hot today. What are you expecting?
Inflation is currently moved from 29.9 to 31.7. We do not expect a spike. We expect it to remain around that level. Of course, some analysts and researchers think that by now we should be seeing base effects coming. I mean, given the high prices we suffered last year at about this time, because our computation method is year on year. But if you look at food inflation, the price keeps going up, and that's the major factor in the basket that is used for computing Nigeria's CPI. The other issue at hand is the new price subsidy removal on power pricing. We do not expect an immediate impact on that because there's still a lot of discussion and engagements on that. Of course, that also does not impact the whole country. It's been said that less than 15% of the consumers will be affected, but definitely it will trickle into affecting prices, given that petrol is also unsubsidized. So cost of production basically will be affected if pricing is increased on, in some cases, about triple on power pricing, basically.
All right, what are you seeing? Let's head to the FX market now. We got some reports earlier that the Naira was trading sub 1,000, in some parts. What are you expecting for the week for the Naira against the dollar this week?
We have seen 1,100, 1,000. It's still around 1,100, 140. That was when NAFEM closed. It is very true that there are very, very serious interest from foreign portfolio investors, especially from the Middle East, probably, diversifying away from the Middle East. Over the weekend, I got calls from the Middle East where some colleagues wanted to know about today's bond auction that's coming out today, and the 2027 bond instrument that is no longer on offer. It's a 3-year instrument at 19.4 coupon. It's no longer on offer. They are interested in coming to pick them up at the secondary market. So that means there's going to be more dollar inflow into the economy in exchange for Nigerian instruments. That's about effective yield around 20 to 27%. So, I mean, given the prospect that Nigeria has, given the strength we've seen recently on our currency and the stability potentials, we're going to see more inflows, and then we expect more strength for the Naira. So we haven't seen 900, but it's a possibility.
Right, and definitely it's all about Israel-Iran conflict right now. Geopolitics is on the radar of most investors, at this time. Talk to me about risk of sentiment. Is that a real thing that may be coming to Nigeria, at this time, following geopolitics and most of the tensions we see in the Middle East?
Okay. So, I mean, like I just explained to you on Sunday, I've seen some Middle Eastern brokers and foreign portfolio investors start they're beginning to look at Nigerian Treasury bills, 1-year instrument, and the shortest bond in the market, which is at 19.4%. So basically, it's portfolio diversification, and then, like I said, risk of the Sub-Saharan Africa bonds are looking very good. All through last week, if you get the data, you can see Nigerian Euro bonds too were also positive. That we ascribe to crude oil price exceeding $90 per barrel. As we speak, it's at 89.6. It's dropped a bit, going to end of last week due to profit taking. But if this conflict that has happened in the Middle East continues, crude oil price continues to go up, the potential of sub-Saharan markets continue to increase. Like the earlier speaker said, the Atlantic trade improves, and then, those who are diversifying portfolios simply look at Nigerian instruments and opportunities in our equities markets also. So we're expecting more to gain more from this challenge. We just have to position ourselves very well to ensure that we take advantage of this momentum and then use that to stabilize Naira, if we can't even strengthen it further, to stabilize it at this level so that most of our investors, local and foreign, can have a planning, space to plan, with a stable currency, basically.
Right, and I guess we're all hoping for peace, in the Middle East at this time, definitely. Thank you so much. It was great having your perspective. Mr. Bankole Odusanya is the chief dealer at Polaris Bank. Thank you so much. All right, so that's it for me on Business Morning. We'll track more market reactions later on Business Incorporated. That's by 1 p.m. as markets brace for Israel's reaction to the attack by Iran over the weekend. I'm Ladi Williams. It's back to the Sunrise Daily team.
Welcome back. Yes, indeed. As you've seen there, Dr. Chidi Lloyd joins us here now. He's a former member of the Rivers House of Assembly. He's a lecturer, Faculty of Law, UNN, and he's also a development analyst. Good morning. Thank you for coming on today.
Thank you, Chamberlain.
Well, last week, many...
I'd like to correct that. I was a former teacher at the
UNN.
UNEC. That is what it is called.
Okay, that's Enugu campus.
Yes.
Okay, all right. So this matter in Rivers, the comments made by the former governor, Dr. Peter Odili, about the current governor, who he said is the leader of the party, and as such people expect several other things to follow. But your group also held the meeting at the time and also tried to rally everyone in the same breath. So many just see that as clearly a divided camp.
No, Chamberlain, I'd like to say this to you clearly, that the camp in Rivers State is not divided. We are one strong family under
how
the
do you
leadership.
mean?
You asked a question, can I finish? Under the leadership of the Minister for Federal Capital Territory. You recall that at several fora, the governor of Rivers State has referred to the Minister of FCT as his organ, and nothing has changed. You see, what is going on in Rivers State is very unfortunate, that a lot of internally displaced politicians who do not have the guts to face the minister have become suddenly envious of the rising profile of the minister. And have come in, they have launched a very vicious attack on our political family. That is why you see them move from Sunday to Sunday, they are crisscrossing local government areas in the state, rather than allow the governor to deliver on his campaign promises. And also you must recall, Chamberlain, that the governor rode on a campaign mantra, consolidation and continuity. Because it's a family. And this was what we all thought. As a local government chairman, that I am now in Rivers State, the former governor, who by the grace of God is the Minister of FCT today, made all of us campaign coordinators for the Fubara, for the Governor Fubara elections. And ditto for all other positions that were contested in 2013. Recall that what you see now, people holding Thanksgivings, which of course does not synchronize with the provisions of the Bible in Genesis chapter 4, verse 3. Recall that Cain and Abel gave offerings, right? Abel gave the offering of the firstborn of the lamb, and God accepted Abel's offering. Whereas Cain went and put together a group of assorted fruits. And of course, God didn't take that. So if you're going to equity, you must go with clean hands. As simple as that.
So the group that you attended the meeting and you...
That's the stakeholders meeting of my local government.
Stakeholders of local government.
Yes, stakeholders of more of our local government. What we did was what we are taught to do. We are taught to show gratitude to whoever does us good. It was merely a meeting of saying thank you to Mr. President for appointing one of our own and our leader, Minister of FCT. Recall that we are members of the People's Democratic Party. And for the president to have the largeness of heart to make, for the first time, a Southerner would sit on that position as Minister of the FCT. And to the glory of God, I hear from people. I do the devil's advocate. I go into taxis in Abuja here, and the echoes are all around as to the performance of the...
So it was not out of place
for
you not to be in the meeting where Dr. Peter Dili was?
No. What happened there, with due respect to Dr. Peter Dili, like he said, they were commissioning a cottage hospital. And from what the former governor had said, he didn't even invite the incumbent governor. So it was not as if our own stakeholders meeting was done in order to spite. No, these were events that were scheduled differently.
So do you consider Dr. Peter Dili as, you said, politically internally displaced politicians or something?
No, I haven't said so. I can't refer to Dr. Peter Dili as an internally displaced politician. I haven't seen him in any of those Thanksgiving rallies and all that. So I can't in good sense refer to him as IDP. But he's our great grandfather.
But many who saw and heard him say that the governor is the political leader, some of them automatically think that every other rally or whatever directive or whatever allegiance should be to him.
No, it doesn't work that way. What the former governor expressed is his own what he feels. Okay, no probative value can be added to that because he's not talking as national chairman of the People's Democratic Party. Okay, and you know that membership of a political party comes with responsibility. You will have paid your dues. You would have paid your dues up to date, and you would have been attending meetings of that political party. So with due respect, what happened in Ndoni was an expression of how a man feels. And, you know, like I said, I came to this studio with a book authored by Dr. Peter Odili, our great-grandfather. This is History and Conscience. And in this book, the former governor copiously captured all the, when he left as governor, even those, the first time I read this book, I saw myself shedding tears towards the end of the book. How a good man can be vilified all of a sudden. How a man who had become golden governor of Nigeria can suddenly not have friends again, all by himself. So in that solitude, he put together this book. And on page 434, I'd like to read if you permit me. He said that is the axiom that you never really know a man until he has power and money. He said this axiom came truly alive since my period out of office in May 29 of 2007. So that is what you see. It does appear that it is a recurring decimal, that when people leave office, even those who hang the photographs of such persons in their various sitting rooms, all of a sudden begin to vilify the person. I ordinarily did not think, would not have thought that former Governor Nyesom Wike will all of a sudden become the devil himself today. This was a man, in 4 years, he delivered 12 bridges, built a cardiovascular hospital that was named after our revered Sadok.
So what's the bone of contention then? Why are people
That's what I'm saying. I did say here in my opening speech that there is a vicious attack by politicians who are displaced, right? To come back, to see how they can cause pandemonium in the family. And it does appear they are succeeding. Because what we should be talking now in Rivers State should be development. The way it is going on in Abia, the way it is going on in Enugu, and several in Delta. And recall, people, every Sunday, what we have in Rivers State is Thanksgiving. There was no threat to our election. It wasn't annulled. The results of our elections was not annulled. The Supreme Court upheld the mandate of the people, which we gave to the governor freely, under the direction of the Minister for FCT. He was at the forefront of that campaign. And I'm sure that your organization covered most of those events.
Oh, Dr. Chidiloy, it's good to see you again. I mean, I haven't had the privilege of having an interview with you after so many years. And it's interesting, I was still talking about Rivers politics. So let me, first of all, let's start with what you've just, I think what has sparked, new conversation around Rivers is the comment of the former governor, a man whom we have now referred to as the great-grandfather, as your great-grandfather in Rivers State of politics. And his comments were highly significant, according to a lot of people, when he says, you are the leader of the party in Rivers State. Some people felt that that was not just his opinion, that was his endorsement of what position he believes the governor occupies. Contrary to, all the other calculations that were happening in the state. That's basically what he seems to be saying. And coming from someone like him, who was also quite close to the former governor, the immediate past governor, when he was in office, people felt that this was a most, how will I put it now, a most certain or unambiguous endorsement of the position he believes that the governor should be occupying.
But let me quickly remind you that this is April, right?
Indeed.
This is April. We just finished elections. This is not the time for endorsements. And what our great-grandfather had said about the incumbent governor, he had also said about the minister of the FCT. As a scholar, I like to be prepared when I craft interviews. Here, Odili hails Wike as treasure whom enemies of progress denied Nigeria.
What year was that?
This was politics. This is actually channels. Sorry, This is actually channels. I went online and
yes, but you didn't see the date.
You can look at it.
And it doesn't say anything about him being the political leader.
Hold on. Let me say it. I'm just doing this so that you know. So that the point I'm making is that at one point or the other, Dr. Peter Odili had also said at different fora that Governor Nyesom Wike had surpassed him as governor when he was governor. This was said in his 74th birthday.
Yes.
Yeah, this is
Governor Wike was still in office there, wasn't
he? That's what I'm saying. That's the point. You see, it does appear that whoever is in office is told the same story. I hate to discuss when it comes to very revered elders like this. You know, the things I would want, I ordinarily would have said, I'm careful not to say them. What one expects, like what I have been praying as a Catholic knight that I am, is for our great-grandfather to call two of his sons in a room and ask them not to do to sheath their sword, if at all there is any. We watched on TV what the Tortiv did with the SGF and the governor. That's what elders do. That is what I think elders should do. And not to come and dangerously take sides and polarize the state unnecessarily.
You have said that, you know, this, what's the name, that this is not political, this is not a...
No, that endorsement in actually...
But we know that even before, I mean, before an election season, we know that there must be a leader of a political party in a state. And traditionally, it has been recognized that the governor of a state is usually the leader of the political party in a state. Are you denying the current governor that?
But can you refer me to any instant law in the People's Democratic Party that confers leadership on the governor? And you refer me. I like to learn.
Is it a law or is it a tradition?
And that's what I'm saying. What is tradition to you may not be tradition to me. And of course, you know, the leaders don't choose their followers. Followers choose their leaders.
So you do agree that indeed there is a bone of contention and it's for that position of leadership?
No. You see, that's the problem. Like you said, until the statement was made and done by our great-grandfather, there wasn't an issue, right? And it happened. The reason why Chamberlain called me was because at about the same time, some of our people were holding a meeting where we clearly were saying thank you to Mr. President. And of course, thanking him for appointing our leader.
It is interesting that in that same meeting, former chief of staff to the immediate past governor was also there in that meeting. He's a current commissioner in the state.
Without a portfolio yet?
Without a portfolio. Yeah. Well, he was in that same meeting and he was talking about how he said, oh, they will say Wike did this, Wike did that. Is it the governor? Is it the current governor? And people were, wondering, when that sort of statement is made, people are wondering where does his loyalty lie? Is it with the current governor or is it with the immediate past governor?
Now, but you see, we have become so used to abnormalities. We have become so used to cowing people. So if I'm in a system and I see something going wrong, I shouldn't say. Is that loyalty? That to my mind, is blind loyalty.
Yeah, but if people are saying
that... the statement he made, albeit that I'm not holding brief for him, is born out of a certain Chief David Briggs, who was the chairman of the Senior Secondary Schools Board under former Governor Nyesom Wike. He was one of those who usually run around in those black buses that UK used to convey the leaders of the state when he was governor. He made a statement someday and they said that the Dr. Peter Odili Cardiovascular Hospital isn't working and that Julius Beja is incompetent. And now the former chief of staff says, okay, at least the man has conceptualized the idea, brought in Simons, one of those who construct one of the world's best in the construction of hospital equipment. All that has been put in place in the hospital. Now he's no longer governor. If there are issues that are impeding the takeoff of the hospital, this administration should do it. That is what he meant, because we rode on the mantra of consolidation and continuity. He didn't mean any disrespect.
Well, I know my colleague Ayo has questions for you.
Thank you, Malkwe. Well, Mr. Lloyd, it's very interesting, this conversation that we are having, particularly in the light of the political situation, so to speak. Let me reiterate Malkwe's question, first of all. There's been a lot of talk about the politics in River State. Do you think there is a problem, or even as much as a little disagreement?
Absolutely. It is audible to the deaf and visible to the blind. But meanwhile, Ayo, I like your tie.
Okay, well, unfortunately, you can't wear a tie on what you're wearing now. But you know, the interesting thing in all of this conversation, Mr. Lloyd, is if there is a problem, what then is the problem? There are those who allege that maybe because of some broken promises here and there, and some loyalty to one person as opposed to someone else. Can you give us an idea of what the genesis of the challenge in River State today is and how it came to be what it is today?
Well, Ayo, in as much as I would have loved to give you the answer to that question, unfortunately, I'm neither the incumbent governor nor the past governor. But what I can tell you for today is that nothing seems to work. The state is on a standstill. Forget about what you see, the razzmatazz that you see going on. Nothing is happening. The State Assembly is on the one side, doing its legitimate business of lawmaking, amendments, and so on and so forth, which is within their rights to do. And we see that part of the political resolution to this issue that was brokered by Mr. President was that the budget should be represented. And here we are in June, we are in April. River State doesn't seem to have a budget yet. So you can't say things are going on normally. For instance, I'm a local government chairman. There is a mutual distrust now that has been fed into the system. A situation where instructions are given to the heads of local government areas and treasurers to come and implement in a council that has a democratically elected local government chairman. We cannot meet with the governor because he considers nearly all of us enemies. So I hear they are conducting promotions in the state. The chairman of council are not aware. We're only told, they tell the local government, first and foremost, it is the Local Government Service Commission that conducts promotion. Now, we don't have one. We have someone who is acting illegally in that office as acting chairman. And the constitution is clear.
Doesn't that names? Yeah. My apologies, Mr. Lloyd, if you can hear me. Doesn't that also indict the former governor in a way? Because there are those who have said over and over again, local governments ought to be autonomous, ought to be able to perform their own responsibilities without the influence of the governor at any point in time. The understanding a number of people have gone with over the years is that the local government system in River State was autonomous financially and administratively. What you're telling us now is that that is not the case. Since when did this become?
Ayo, I don't see how the former governor will be indicted. This conversation wasn't there when the former governor held sway. And I can tell you authoritatively, I've been chairman of council for going to 3 years now. From 2021, June 17th, I was sworn in. And while we were chairman, former Governor Nyesom Wike was in office. And I mean, we didn't have this kind of conversation. A situation where our monies will be seized and we'll be told to go and submit papers from here to there. It is inimical to the system. Now, a lot of bad blood has been injected into the system. I can't function.
No, Mr. Lloyd, so perhaps the question to ask...
Yes, as plausible...
Yeah.
Ayo, just hold on a second. As plausible as the idea of promoting staff is, but I think that the best thing to do is to follow it legally. If you are going to equity, you must go with clean hands.
Main challenge is to even be clear, Mr. Lloyd. Is it a political tiff we have, or an economic challenge, or a governance problem? What exactly would you bring it all down to? All these things happening in Rivers is a governance problem. Now, how come, if it's a governance problem, then we can easily say that the former governor, Nyesom Wike, has nothing to do with it. But his name is very, very prominent in all of this conversation.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The reason his name is prominent is because he led the state at the time and midwifed the election of the incumbent governor. So there is no way you can talk about Rivers State and not talk about former Governor Nyesom Wike, whose followership in the state are likened to the followership of former President Muhammadu Buhari.
Okay.
It is not about how many tar you pour at the man. It's not.
Okay,
There is a
Mr.
man
Lloyd,
who believes in equity.
Yeah. If it is not a political struggle, how come it involved the president? How come the president invited the two political juggernauts in a state if it has nothing to do with politics?
Ayo, what happened was, you recall that then impeachment notice had been served to the governor and so on. Then the governor sought the intervention of Mr. President. And we all attended the meeting as stakeholders. And an 8-point agenda was reached, which was read, with due respect, by former Governor Peter Odili. The president, as much as gave him the document to read, and after reading, the president, for each one, I remember vividly, he asked, do you agree? And the stakeholders will say yes. Then at the end of the reading of the items therein, signatures were appended to the document. Then all of a sudden, we start hearing, oh, the president does not have powers to intervene. Oh, it is a constitutional problem. Oh, the House of Assembly, they are mere robots. If they are mere robots, it is not in your place to say. It will be decided in the law courts.
All right.
But you see, a lot of people who were displaced, that was why I told you initially, have come up now to say, okay, this is our chance. And are giving the system bad air.
So, Mr. Lloyd, at the heart of this...
cruising at this time.
Yeah.
We ought to be...
Just 1 second, if you can hear me. At the heart of this challenge, from what you're saying, it seems like the major challenge right now is that the governor has not represented the budget. Is that correct?
Well, that could be one of all of the issues that are going on. You know, what I see is that the governor says a different thing and does a different thing, with due respect. You know, and when you allow people, hangers on, to use the occasion of the Thanksgiving to begin to cast aspersions on your former principal. So, and you think supporters of Nyesom Wike will not react in any way? The other day, I saw an elder statesman on TV, Chief Fabiye Sekebo, issuing threats of beating the threats of war. They would not allow the former minister to have his way in this state, and so on and so on and so forth. We know the antecedents of all of this. Some of these elders.
Let me just quickly ask you.
We know what they do, how they turn their places into.
Well, some people
no one has monopoly of violence.
Well, I remember that, you know, we spoke with, we had a conversation with, I'm trying to remember her name, Ms. Ankyo Briggs.
Okay, Auntie Anne.
Yeah, and she spoke and she said, look, when people speak from political points of view, they're entitled to hold their political ideas, but if they're within political parties, then they are political elders within their party.
Absolutely.
So, I mean, we can't begrudge them that. But I want to ask you quickly, who do you consider the leader of the PDP in River State?
Chief Barrister Ezenwo Nyesom Wike, Minister for the Federal Capital Territory.
That is the leader of the PDP?
That's the leader of the People's Democratic Party. And he didn't just become leader. You recall, you were all here when the PDP, during the days of Alimodu Sheriff, you recall what happened. There were those when the PDP had already nearly become decimated. There were people who stood. Leadership is not just earned as a result of the position you occupy. I don't think so. I don't think that is the issue. Were it so, it would have been enshrined in our constitution that when once you become a governor of the state, you mutatis mutandis become the leader of the party in the state. But that's not what.
So you disagree with the great-grandfather?
Absolutely. I am entitled to my own opinion.
What's the solution to this issue?
Prayer.
The struggle.
Prayer.
Prayer?
Yes. What God cannot do does not exist.
I rest my case in that case. I cannot challenge God. That Dr. Chidi Lloyd is a former member of the River State House of Assembly, is a current local government chairman and former lecturer, UNEC. Thank you for coming on.
Thanks, Timberlake. It's always a pleasure talking with you.
So that is the show today. We thank you all for watching. We'll see you again tomorrow. I'm Chamberlain, so goodbye.
So I expect that you have your comments. Please send them in. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Mark Welcome.
Not against God, though.
Certainly not.
And I'm Akeredolu. Do have a wonderful day and a beautiful week.